Yes. It is Monday, March 11th, and we are here for the second official episode of Cast Worthy. I'm your co-host of the day, EJ, the washed up savage, Stewart. I'm joined here by Big Steve, also known as Last of a Dying Breed. What's happening, brother?
Not much, man. Not much. Having a wetting the whistle a little bit. Relaxing. Looking forward to this podcast.
Yes, sir. We have been battling through the technical trials and tribulations. We had a dope ass episode last Monday that technically got trashed. But it's okay. We're gonna Game of Thrones this thing and keep going through, keep marching through, and we are here.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yo, man, I was causing a lot of controversy on Facebook today with the allow me to introduce myself. My name is Stove.
Yeah. That went left quick, man.
What was up with that?
I think people read into shit, man. So when I saw it, first of all, if you're not an avid Jay-Z fan,
Right.
you're not gonna be familiar with the lyrics, right? So somebody who's not, and I think the young lady that was not familiar, um, she's historical, like super feminist, fembot type shit. Like, but she's not like the type that's like women and men are equal. Like she's the type that women are better than men type shit.
Oh,
And yeah, she's always been like that. Like even before it was a big thing, before it was, Me Too and all that shit. Like I worked with her like 8 years ago, maybe 10, almost 10 years
mm-hmm.
ago now. And she was always like that. She was always single because she was toxic. Like you know she couldn't keep anybody. But I think she misinterpreted it, right? And I was trying to explain to her the way I interpreted it. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Stove. Listen,
Right.
broads nowadays in these current days, the more that you hear and the more that time goes by, these new generations, um women can't cook.
Yeah.
Like, and I get where she's coming from, where she says that men shouldn't have those expectations and it should be equal and men should know how to cook and this, that, and the third. And she's right there, but that doesn't make it wrong that, historically, that's what we've been taught. Women are nurturers and, they take care of home. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. So I guess she's kind of trying to dispel the normal gender roles that have existed for a long time, and basically saying, men need to know how to cook too, and that's fine. I mean, my mom's, always taught me how to do for me and cook as well. But I just think like you, just because I should know how, doesn't mean we throw away the expectations that we set, and I say that akin to everybody in their own relationship. If you set your own expectations with somebody else, and that's what you expect them to do, because a lot of women out here expect us to take out the garbage or fix this, or at least get it fixed, or when there's a fucking noise downstairs, your ass is going downstairs, right? So what I'm saying.
Right.
But was she also somebody who was saying she taught her son how to cook, or was that somebody else?
She's OD, man. So, like, what I was saying is, I agree. Like, my kid is gonna learn. My son is gonna know how to do his laundry. He's gonna know how to cook. He's gonna know how to clean. He's gonna be, independent because shit, I was. You know what I mean? I know how to do my laundry. I knew how to do my laundry. I knew how to, before I moved out of my house, laundry, cook, clean, all that shit was part of life. But I know a lot of women that have
Mm-hmm.
kids and they themselves say they're not gonna let their son get with no chick, or you know what I mean. That doesn't know how to cook or doesn't know how to fucking keep a
Absolutely.
home,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, it's just that's how it's been historically. Is it, I guess it's perception. When you're looking at you look at the meme, it's perception. And I had a lot of women that liked it, laughed at it, joked on it, and all that shit.
She
Um,
had one.
but yeah, she was very long winded. Um, and
Surprisingly though, I didn't find her banter to be as bad as it could have been. And then honestly, it was like no one was really paying attention, so it just got drowned out. All
yeah,
the commentary just got drowned out.
yeah, I think she was trying to keep it PC and not make it seem like she was trying to take an attack on me or anyone else that was on the feed or on the thread. But
Right.
there was subliminals in there and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely was some subliminals in there, which is why I told her, I was like, I think I said something to her like, you've had some, you've had some toxic relationships in the past that have led you down, a rabbit hole, and that's why you're so fucking miserable. Like, bitch, you miserable. Like, I'm happy.
Mm.
Like, I'm worried about my household. You shouldn't be worried about my household. Like, it
Ooh.
comes down to me. I ain't nobody. That's why you single.
Yeah.
Can't keep a nigga. And the thing about it is, she's Puerto Rican and lives in Puerto Rico now. But
Mm.
we know from that culture how the mothers are in that culture.
Right.
I mean, my mother-in-law still to this day does my brother-in-law's laundry and shit. You know what I'm saying? Cleans the house and cleans his room and shit. And this nigga's 26 years old. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Um, it's just that's their culture, and I can foresee, my wife doing the same thing when my son gets older, if she follows in those footsteps.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, before I'm remiss to forget to say, follow us on Instagram at Castworthy, CASTWORTHY, and Twitter, same handle, at Castworthy, for episodes, bullshit, news, and just interact with us. Get at us, man.
Yes, 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 yes.
How fitting
Um,
you're playing the police sirens when our first topic is reserved for someone who probably has heard more police sirens in the last 2 weeks than he has in
damn.
his last 20 years of life. Robert Kelly.
Yeah, it's been dirty, man. They've been doing that man dirty
Robert Kelly. He just got released on bail for back child support. I don't know who
again.
we don't know who bailed him out this time, but yo,
Right.
that shit is crazy. And I was saying it on the last episode that got messed up, man. I think one of the biggest tragedies, aside from all of the nasty shit that he's done and continues to do, it is sad to see such a musical icon fall this way. Of course, he's brought on himself, but then the financial, like, how the fuck are you broke, fam?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
damn.
So, did you get to see the Gail King, the full shit interview on CBS?
I no, I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
Okay. Yeah, that so when I was watching it, as nasty and dirty as that nigga or that R. Kelly has been, um, you still kind of feel bad for him.
Mhm.
And I think it's because we know um that he's not educated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so for him to try and sit through an interview and try to fight for himself, it's different for someone who's educated to be standing, um, trial versus society when they can, verbally spar with these individuals. But he was saying stuff like women's, like woman's, like,
Sorry.
I never heard no woman held no woman's hostage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh
you could hear
no.
the ignorance.
Oh no. Oh no.
You you can hear the ignorance in this dude's voice, man. Like,
Nah.
and you see him, he's tearing up his shit, and
Oh
um,
man, I did see some of the, the snippets and the most famous ones. But no, I mean on a serious note, like we kind of discussed, before once before, he had like maybe like a fourth grade education, maybe
mhm,
more, maybe a little more, maybe less. And he openly has talked about not being able to read his contracts, all of that. And he's the product of abuse. He's the product of sexual, mental neglect. He is
mhm.
the epitome of what our children are suffering through every day. Hurt people, and that's what this is. And it's insane and it's crazy because you would never think that someone as successful as he is would be this way. But some of our most talented people throughout history have been our sickest.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of answers the question. You brought it up with the financial situation that he's in, the inability to read and understand the contract. And when he was starting, he may not have had anyone to do that. Remember that was had to be like 20, 30 years ago that R. Kelly came out, and people weren't hip to raping you records until after he had already got his deal. And so I think that did lead to where he don't got a pot to piss in. Like dude said he didn't on the Gail King interview. He said he didn't have a bank account until he got out of jail and went down to Bank of America.
Oh
Like,
man, that's the bank. That's the bank. Yo, they let him go down to Bank of America at that. Nobody told him their fucking APR rates
dog,
out the sky. Like, damn.
dog. First stop McDonald's because the restaurant reminded him of his mom's. Second stop Bank of America where they gonna kill him for overdraft fees if you don't keep
Wow.
he don't keep the funds up to pay them legal fees. He gonna get killed on overdraft fees. Bank of America ain't got no chill.
Yo, what? Yo, so okay. Wow. Yo, I mean, honestly, and you know something? All right. So, on a serious note, yes. And it's fucked up because we always have to preface talking about him in this
Hmm.
way. Like, yes, we know we're not condoning. Yes. No, we're not. No. This is not going to be one of those tirades and oh, but Harvey Weinstein. No, we're not going to do that. We very well can, but as a clinician who works in this field, right? It's
Hmm.
kind of sad because, and I think I've alluded to this before, and I don't remember when, but it's kind of sad that when the roles are reversed, make this a female, black female, white male, anything, and this point I will argue, and I can give a shit about what anybody says. When the face of the accuser or the victim is a black male, um, the empathy and the sympathy is thrown out the door.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say when the victim is, and I'm not talking of a shooting or something like that, but it's literally unless black men are being shot to death, no one views us as human beings, and this guy is literally a product of being a victim for years and years and years. Not only as a kid, but then his course of life, just being a victim from the industry, from the people around him. The people around him, are just as bad. You have enabled him to
Yep.
stay sick, and this
Yeah.
is the epitome of what happens when mental health is not treated, when it doesn't have a face that looks like a black male. And don't get me wrong, man, because if I'm one of these parents, one of these fathers, I would feel some kind of way. That's if I didn't already kind of sell him to her. sell them to sell her to him rather. But it's tragic, man. But this dude is really fucked up. You telling me he got out of jail, and this is a multi-platinum $1 million artist, went to McDonald's because it reminded him of his mom, and then he went to open his first bank
Right.
account.
Right. And I think you have a point there. With the when you spoke about the parents, he had the two broads that he's dealing with now, which I think one is 23, one is 26. The parents were both on there playing that role. Oh, my daughter, my daughter. Oh, I'm just worried about their well being. Da 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 da. Number one of the dudes, one of the fathers is younger than R. Kelly, 40 something, and we know R. Kelly's like 50 something. If you really that worried about your daughter, you gonna get your daughter out of that situation. Like, I'm gonna run up in the studio, we're gonna have a conversation. Um, and it is what it is from there. But they said that their parents were trying to manipulate the situation for financial gain. um where one of them said that their parents were like, hey, you need to fund us and give us money for a food truck, and
Wow.
this, that, and the third. So i'm I wonder if you go back
Uh huh.
to the individuals that were going to these concerts, letting their daughters go to these concerts or taking their daughters to these concerts. Because, I mean, if you're at a specific age, it's not easy,
To go to a
or
concert
right, it's not
by
feasible for
yourself.
you to be in a concert by yourself at 14, 15, 16 years old even. You know what I mean? There has to be someone there that's accountable for you. And if you know that your daughter is being lured in, let's say, by R. Kelly or his entourage, at what point do you say, no, I got to stop that? Because he's already had these, rumors, or, these interactions that, he beat the case, but, it's stuff that, shit, you got two eyes, you see the video, you call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean
Um,
it's a lot of complicit lack of action um in some of these instances, especially those that you're speaking of, where people were, bringing their kids to the shows, and um it's sad, man. It's sad, and I it saddens me to see, because we're really, as black men, I'm seeing a lot of hatred on my timeline, and we're all being lumped and clumped and generalized, and that shit is like, we as a community, as a people, like you were saying about the young lady before, because of her feelings and her toxic thoughts on things, has pretty much kept herself from not having an opportunity to be with someone. We as a people, because we continue to make R. Kelly every black man. I can't go on there and talk shit about one black woman and then make it all about all black women. I can't do
right,
that. And it's kind of sad when our community is, we're so quick to damn or vilify all the black men because R. Kelly's a piece of shit.
right.
How do we get ahead? How do we ever put this thing back together?
I don't know if you can. Um, I mean, we've had conversation around, and what I told the young lady last night too is, it's people standing in their own fucking way, man. Like, feminists standing in their own fucking way. That, like, I get it. You're for the people. You're for your, for women, for women's rights, and we all understand that it's necessary. Um, but if you really are to the point where you're, and I don't want to call it brainwashed, but it is what it is, to think that a man on a regular basis, the way she put it, would go into an interview, and as soon as a woman comes in, they already know their answer before even having the conversation with the person.
Mm,
Um, basically saying that a woman is not equal and they don't deserve the opportunity at the position, because a man would do the job better. If you're that naive to think that in today's society that happens frequently, now I'm sure it does happen in situations. It happens, in the deep South, where there's those households where men are superior to women, and women need to be barefoot and pregnant in front of the stove. Like, there's those situations, but if you try to make that the majority, I think you're brainwashed and naive, and you don't want to see the reality of it.
Yeah, and on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, like you said, it happens. The thing that fucks me up is that who are we talking to? Now, this is a Puerto Rican woman talking to a black man who, where I keep telling people, is like, we
Hmm.
all have privilege. You know, when it comes to a woman dealing with the police and they're hostile and they're fighting and they're doing this and that. I can't recall too many motherfuckers getting shot. Too many women getting shot with
Right.
no questions asked. You know what I'm saying? You have that privilege because, yeah, while it is negative, they don't see you as a threat that they see me, and vice versa. If someone's trying to attack you or versus attacking me, they might think twice when it comes to me versus the woman. Yeah, sure, we all have privilege, but it's like, who are we talking to? And that's what my thing is. Our fight is not against each other. People of color, people of minority, we all have to understand, like, yeah, while you come to the table as a Puerto Rican woman and they might interview you and think you don't know shit, the same thing they're fucking doing to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? The only person in this country, in this world, historically, that has been able to just do whatever the fuck they want are the white
Right.
man and the white woman. And that's just historically. It's not prejudice. It's not it's not
It
illogical. It's
is.
fucking factual. So that's my problem is like when people say this kind of shit, who are you talking to? like like motherfucker, you grew up where I grew up, if not the same place, something
Hmm.
like it. You know what I'm saying? We all went through the same shit. So it's just crazy to me how we all just get generalized in the pot for being whatever it
Right.
is just because.
and and
It's
the
crazy.
point, I think I kind of went off on a tangent a little bit and kind of missed my point. Is, when you asked how do we get ahead of it, and I said we stand in our own way. I went into the feminism thing, but I also, what I meant by that is, and wanted to make a comparison to, is the colorism. um you know
Mm.
it, I've said it, and we've had these conversations. If you take a light skinned black person, black male, and a dark skinned black male,
Hmm.
and you put them in front of a racist, not, just a standard white person, but a racist, they're not going to say, well, I accept him because he's light skinned. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
a,
no.
a nigga's a nigga to somebody who doesn't appreciate us as a people. And for us to sit here and dislike one another because one of us are more fair skinned or have better hair, or whatever the situation is, we're standing in our own way. And until we can get past that's minimal, difference, we'll continue to see black men being canceled, right? As a whole gender due to one person's actions.
Right. And so and I like where you went with this, and we had a whole discussion on this. You basically have a progressive way to look at it. You're basically saying at this point in time, it's on us. It's on us as a people to dispel the old innuendos. I can't think of the word. Dispel the old bullshit, basically.
Hmm.
And we did talk about colorism and where it comes from. And this was on the content that we wasn't able to post, but colorism does stem from slavery and the house nigga versus the field nigga. And I've seen arguments as of late because we were talking about how Will Smith got casted as Venus and Serena's father, which I do think he looks nothing fucking like him. Um, and clearly, it was done probably and largely to get asses in the seats. But if you talk, depending on who you talk to, it's a classic and glaring example of colorism. And I think it still possibly, I know it still lingers in our community largely because we as a people keep it thriving, like you
Right.
said. So I do agree with you on that, because there's no, and that's the thing about racism. Unless it's blatantly and directly told to you, it's very hard to quantify how you can measure someone is picking me because of this or that. It's hard. So I mean, I do agree with you. A large part of that is us keeping the narrative going.
Right. And I can see, I mean, a blind man could see that Will Smith, from a physical standpoint, doesn't resemble the Williams sisters' father, right? But
Mhm.
like I said, and like you said, um, people aren't going to go see Venus and Serena movie. Like, unless you're a tennis fan or a true Venus fan or a true Serena fan, which is going to be few and far, you're not going to. It's they're not packing theaters out. So,
Right.
how do you potentially do that? Will
Right.
Smith has a fucking TV show from when he was 21 years old playing a 17, 16, 17-year old kid, still in heavy fucking rotation.
Hmm.
Like, the fucking theme song plays on the radio from the goddamn TV show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
this dude, what he touches turns to gold. He's got movies that, and we talked about it. Last time we had this conversation. Um, if we compare like Two Guns was the one with Denzel Washington and Marky Mark, and that the movie wasn't great. Um, but it made 2 million less than fucking Suicide Squad. And
Hmm.
Suicide Squad is on that fucking comic book wave. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's simply that shit made money because of Denzel Washington. So if I'm a producer and I see an opportunity, and it doesn't help, or it definitely helps that the person is familiar with Will Smith and they work together and they're friends or whatever. But if I have the opportunity to cast Will Smith or Idris Elba or Denzel's son or somebody who's darker skin but lesser of a caliber actor or celebrity rather, I'm gonna go with Will Smith every time, because why am I gonna put out a movie that's not gonna sell? Whether it's good or not, whether the story is good, if it's not, if people aren't gonna go see it, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and I think we'd be remiss to kind of I think people are kind of doing a disservice to the core issues of things. And when you compare it a lot to the stars in the movies, because I saw a video, I forget where it was, but it's a popular type of Facebook video chain of people. And the same dark skinned lady does it all the time. And she was the voice of this video, and she was pointing out a lot of different light skinned actors in Hollywood, and the different opportunities. And I'm like, first and foremost, man, we can't bash somebody or kind of point this kind of stuff out because they were born that way. The same way colorism is felt on one spectrum, it's felt on the other. And it's not fair to kind of continue to make it seem like it's a one-sided thing just because you are on that side that you feel some kind of way at that point. But when you look at it, breaking it down, and I've known stories and I've heard stories from people on both ends of the spectrum, of the
Hmm.
bullying and the ridicule and the commentary and the nonsense. Even if you look back to Spike Lee's School Days, and I didn't even think about it until now. The gamma ray girls and the other girls, in their feud of light skin and dark skin. And I think you have a
Right.
great point. We as a people, the only way that this shit will ever stop is if we start to teach our kids in our community different. So we got to stop, saying these different things around our kids, because this is how motherfuckers is learning it and going to school. You're not born
Right.
with the aptitude to really say that kind of shit and think about it. So we as a people have to start to take it out of our communities after our out of our training, out of our rearing, all of that. It has to stop. And I agree with you, man. We got to get out of our own way. We got to.
Yeah. And the other thing I thought about too is not just that, but if that's the stand that you're taking, you got to think outside the box, right? Individuals should be happy that the director, any director, decided to spend that money on a black man. That's how it should be looked at, whether he's light skinned or dark skinned.
True.
They could have said to hell with it. Let's make the movie about Venus and Serena. Let's get some fucking bum dark skinned stand in that could play the father, and let's spend the budget on a fucking a white man that could be a referee or some fucking person that they interacted with at some
Right.
course in their life, a teacher or
Right.
fucking some
Right.
shit. You
Right.
know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Whitewash.
like that's what that's what I'm saying. Just see the bright side of it. Like see the silver lining. It's okay, I think, to have opinions about things. Of that nature, and not to beat the dead horse, but I do think it's important to be open minded when you have those those conversations
I
and
agree.
thinking about it.
Sidebar. I just saw this. Moving on to something different. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but education department faces 10% funding cut under Trump's 2020 budget proposal. Guess one of the key points that would suffer. Changes would include, and this is just one. Changes would include the end of subsidized student loans and the popular public service loan forgiveness program.
Wow.
You motherfucker. You
Wow.
motherfucker.
10% drop to education. Is that just part of it, the student loans, or is that the
That's
gist
one of
of
the
it?
key points.
Or
That's one of the key points that's being pointed out in this article. With the House controlled by Democrats, administration may find it hard to realize its request. Okay, but
yeah, I don't
yeah,
see that
this
being
is,
passed.
uh, you know, he's requesting the 62 billion. Um, Department of Education 7.1 billion less than the agency's allowance. So he's trying to cut 7.9 billion out of the U.S. Department of Education, U.S. Education Department rather. Um,
All that's
yo,
all that's gonna do is have motherfuckers taking loans elsewhere and going in the debt even further.
pretty much, or not paying that shit. Like
Right.
fuck y'all. Like honestly,
Yeah.
like
You're gonna have to garnish my wages. Like, uh,
yo,
get
this
me in
shit
like
is
10 years, yo. I'm gonna keep fucking applying for the hardship, forbearance, and all that shit. Like,
yo, this shit. I mean, this fucking guy, man. This fucking guy. Like I had a
which
conversation with my. Go ahead, my bad.
I was gonna say, which is why it's important, I think, to plan. Like, Florida has this thing called damn it, I just completely drew a blank.
Or like
But
tuition reimbursement kind of thing.
no, it's like right now I can start paying for the tuition for my son
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
1 years old. Florida prepaid is called Florida
Okay.
prepaid,
Mm-hmm.
and I can pay it out now, and I can choose either a 2 year university. I could choose a 4 year university. I could choose 2 years and room and board. I could choose 4 years room and board and have it paid off. I can, do a 5 year, 10 year plan, or pay it between now and the time he turns 18 or, college age. Um, we gotta start planning. If nothing, if that fucking government shutdown didn't teach people anything, like you got motherfuckers ready to like risk it all, like because you work for the government, you ain't got savings, you don't got $2,000, you don't got enough to pay a month's rent or mortgage. If you weren't to get paid, like if you lose that job for some reason, I think it's important for us um to plan, because this everything that he does, including this, is to negatively impact those who don't have the financial means to just shell it out and be like, fuck it. Oh, I don't take loans anyway. My son or daughter's not going to take loans anyway because I'm gonna pay that. I'm gonna write a check for their fucking education.
Yeah, and I think the larger issue is the fallacy and the fuckery that is America. We're both I don't know if we could say second generation. Our parents, at least one of them or two of them, went to college or
Hmm.
some kind of higher education. But the truth be told, and probably outside of your pops, I would say, and I would guess, largely at some point, the three of them, my pops, your mom, my mother, and certainly my father, had no real fucking clue of what college really was about and
Right.
what it was going to look like for us and what to do. And so, even when it came time for us to move along and do what we needed to do, a lot of this shit is trial and error. And fortunately, now we're at a generation where our sons and daughters are going to be more educated because we know. But this is the fallacy of America and higher education, that all of our people are not educated, that higher education isn't free across the board.
Right.
Fucking bullshit.
And the lack of familiarity had the conversations be different in the
Hmm.
households. Like the household conversation, for us is completely different for fucking than someone who's well off. Whether they're rich, rich white, rich black, whatever it might be, and where they were at that time. If they had the funds, those conversations were completely different. They were being set up for that so that they were able to know what was to come,
Hmm.
um, which made it a lot easier for them to be successful and be prepared for you know what what was to come for college and etc. While for us it was kind of, and for our parents it was fend for yourself, figure it out, finish high school, and then make a
Yeah,
move.
yeah, and not only that, when you're talking about going into the workforce, knowing what fields are going to gross more, what you need education wise afterwards. I mean, all of this shit is a crock of shit, man. And when you really think about it, the fact that people are even allowed to have the amount of loans and money that they have been given, that shit should be straight illegal. Like, it should be no reason why motherfuckers should have a $500,000 or $250,000 loan for
Hmm.
education that costs maybe 20 grand, and for a job that's only gonna get them on average 50 grand. It's some bullshit.
And can't get a
Yeah.
mortgage,
Or a business loan.
but can't get a mortgage
Or a business loan.
or a
Yeah.
business loan. Even more so, a business loan which is going to allow them to make
It's
money.
fucking bullshit, man. And it's the fallacy of this country, and it's what's wrong with this society. Other countries people are coming. It's motherfuckers coming here. I work with so many people that have come here with degrees from this fucking place all the way over here and all the way over there,
Uganda.
Sri Lanka, you name it. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
they got that degree, and they've come here, and they've been afforded the same opportunity as other citizens, and they're getting the jobs, and they're getting high paying jobs, and our people are still miseducated, ill informed, and we're not competing, but yet we're paying
Right.
probably four times more money.
Right. And a lot of times people don't even use what they're going to school
Shit.
for. I was just having that conversation today that there's a young lady who reports to a supervisor at my job. She's just an agent in a call center taking phone calls. She's got a journalism
Damn.
degree. There's a dude on my team who's got a 4-year degree from UCF in business management or something
Mm.
like that. Of course, he can use that and pull it to where or make it where it's beneficial to him at my job. But there's people that are sitting there. There was a dude that when I first started working there, and now he's gone, but he had a master's. He had a master's degree in um, a level of information technology with certifications, and he was sitting doing the same job as someone who had just a high school
Mm.
diploma. So a lot of people put themselves in debt because that's what you're taught to do. After high school, you're gonna go to college or you're gonna be a bum. Like that's how they present it to people, and they end up throwing themselves into debt because they go ahead and they get the student loans and default on them, or get the student loans and now they just finished school, they don't have any experience, so no one's trying to give them a job at what they've gone to school for, with the expectation of, hey, when you get out with this degree, you can make $80,000. Yeah, not
Right.
entry level, you can't. Not
Right.
when you first come out. Nobody's gonna hire you to be an executive if you ain't never had a damn job. If you went from high school to college, worked in a fucking ice cream shop for a little bit, and now you finish school, you think you're gonna come out and be fucking some big
Yeah.
shit? Like, it don't go down like that in this world. And then you got people that get those gigs because they have the experience and because they know someone
Yep.
without the degree.
Yep. It's a real shitty rat race, man. It's a real shitty rat race. But turning into something on a lighter note, I got a chance last night to see Captain Marvel. I know you saw it. What were your thoughts?
Second there. Yeah, Captain Marvel. I
Hmm.
saw that. I went Saturday afternoon. Um, I had so I told you we talked about this in the group chat. The one thing I did like, I like the
Hmm.
plot twist with the Krees, etc. Um, where they let off and you're like, oh shit, they just got ambushed by some fucking
Hmm.
thugs. Da 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 da.
That shit was
Um,
hard. Yeah, that shit was dope.
yeah,
Leading off the movie, that shit was definitely dope.
and then so I like that, but I think one of the things that hurt me as a fan is because, and I know you guys don't feel the same, but seeing Black Panther um and then seeing Avengers after Black Panther Infinity War, and them being
Hmm.
amazing movies, my expectation was a little higher, you know, for this movie. And no matter, even though I was sitting there and I had to keep telling myself, "Oh, it's an introduction, it's an origin," so there's not gonna be. But then I'm sitting here and I'm like, "All right, well, they made this big play at the end of Infinity War to make it so obvious that Captain Marvel was going to be a large part of the next Avengers or Endgame." So every scene, I'm like, who's gonna pop up? Like, is Captain America gonna pop up? Like, is this person gonna pop? And even though I knew the shit was fucking, um, set in 95, 95, 96, when I seen the Impala come out, which was fire as fuck.
Hmm.
Um, I called the year when I saw the
Yes.
car. Before that, I was like,
95.
oh,
Yep.
Blockbuster Video, da 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 da.
Yep.
I saw the fucking Impala and I called the year. Um,
Yep. It
yeah.
was 95 to be
But
exact.
even
Yep.
though I knew that, I still, in the back of my head, I'm like, where the fuck is Chadwick? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody got to pop up because,
Hmm.
while it was a good movie, it was still sort of slow, like most, character introduction movies. Um, but I wanted more. Um,
I didn't think it was slow at all. I thought it was good paced. I thought it had good comedy. I loved the way it started off and exploring more of the Kree universe and not the Kree universe, but the Kree realm, world rather. I loved the pace. I loved the tone. I loved the tempo. And I'm really critical on Marvel movies. I'm really critical on all of the comic movies, but Marvel in particular because they do so much off book comic shit. It just kind of
mhm.
bothers me sometimes. But I really enjoyed this joint. I will say that the the I Am Woman Hear Me Roar push, it was like, okay, I get it. We're doing women empowerment. Dropped on International Women's Day. I get it, but at the end of the day, man, I thought it was a great setting for the movie. Origin story, like, so you brought up how origin stories are slow. I remember at one point when Captain America came out, and I'm a huge Captain America fan. When the first Avenger came out, I was like, yo, this shit is fire. I'm like, nobody can tell me different. A lot of comic critics who I'm friends with were kind of disappointed. They were saying it was good, it wasn't great. I was like, look, man, by the end of the phase two, I said Captain America is gonna have the best series of movies. And I believe Captain Marvel has a future, but I really don't know where they're gonna go with this because a lot of her comic stuff is still being rewritten. It's been rewritten, and they're now trying to tie her into the new um, Avengers line of things. I don't really know where they're gonna go, but I think it was a good filler, and it was strategically done by Marvel to try to piece together some things and add to Endgame. But Endgame, I've been very critical on all of the Avengers movies from the beginning, especially this last one. A lot of shit just didn't make sense. A lot of plot holes. We talked about that. I think Endgame, it's either going to be really amazing or it's going to be
Mm,
really fucking shitty. And you touched on it a little bit when you were talking in the chat. And a lot of people have. Captain Marvel has the ability to take on Thanos by herself. This is a fact. Her and Thor right now at this point with him having the axe, they're pretty much at nearly the same strength level. Um, Ed's going either way because Thor is kind of reached
right.
God status at this point. Um, so now what are we gonna do? What are we gonna see? So now I'm thinking we're gonna spend at least an hour and a half of this fucking movie trying to decipher and figure out the mystery of how we get half of civilization throughout the entire universe back. And that shit is gonna have to be fucking
Well,
stupid slow.
I hope it's
Stupid slow.
I hope Endgame is 3 hours long. Um, I really want it to be. The thing about Captain Marvel, I feel like to me is after after they left uh the best friend, the black girl, after they left her house and started the flight
Mm-hmm.
to go back to go out of
Mm-hmm.
space and shit. I think from there it died down. Like I thought it started pretty good. I liked, how they got Fury involved, how they showed the shape shifting and those. I think all of those scenes were good. But after they fucking left her farm or whatever that was, shot out and got to the spaceship where
Mm-hmm.
where the family was. Um, from there it got slow, and then like the fight was trash. Like the fight with her and
Yeah.
the dude from Cree and like it was all I don't know. From there it started. It seemed like it was like now dragging. Like they felt like all right, insert fight scene, and then the fight scene just wasn't there because they didn't have a true fucking villain. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Which made it a
Correct.
challenge to make a good fight scene when you're just fighting somebody that, was just punching her in the face not too long ago. Um,
Right.
so
Right.
yeah, the one thing I can say I love though was the first post credit scene.
Ah, which is speculated to be pulled from Endgame, a scene from Endgame, possibly.
Think so?
I mean, it's speculative. You can say that it could be. It might not be. It could have just been done specifically for this post credit. But I agree with you. And here's the problem that I have with Marvel on Captain Marvel, and they really propelled her in the new comics and even on Disney to kind of be so strong. You kind of almost, like you said, to create a fight scene that was appropriate, it was kind of way too hard because theoretically speaking, when her true power was unleashed, she could have just really just blasted everybody and been done with them. Um,
Right.
but it didn't leave. It didn't give her the character development that they wanted. They wanted to show somebody with some depth who is merciful, who is anti-Cree, who is positive, who is a beacon of light, and all of these things. So that was the struggle. I like the post-credit scene in Infinity Wars. I mean, that leads on to Endgame. I like it as well. I think it's gonna be a good segue, and it definitely gives you a lot to kind of be teased for, to kind of say I really need to see this.
It looked like it could have been. I agree with you. It could have been definitely could have been a scene there. Um, I don't know if it's an exact scene from Endgame
Hmm.
or just a leading in type of thing. Um, so that they don't have to write 30 minutes to 40 minutes um before
Right.
introduced. 30 minutes of them sitting around with fucking Scarlett Johansson and them like, oh, well, what is this? Oh, let's look it up. Oh, it looks like it's a two-way pager. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, um, you don't gotta waste that time. You can get straight to the shits. Like they've already introduced, like, hey, all right, Fury had it. Now if you've seen Captain Marvel, you see how they've hooked it up and they're trying to communicate. Bam, she's there. Now we can pick up pretty quickly, maybe do a quick early scene like they did with Infinity War, where they showed the ending of or they kind of picked up the ending of
Hmm.
Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok, which was
Yeah.
awesome. I think that was a beautiful lead in, and then you kind of lead into Endgame like that, so you get straight to the shit. You're not fucking blowing 35 minutes or 30 minutes of people's time, where they fucking popcorn is now empty and you haven't even gotten to the
Right.
goods.
And this movie is really gonna challenge. It's really gonna show the depth of Marvel and how good they have been over the last whatever amount of years to connect all this shit together. Because keeping 100, man, I mean they've done a phenomenal job tying all this shit together. But again, that's the thing that scares me most is like now you're finally here. A lot of shit has not made sense. Like, i.e.,
Hmm.
why hasn't he called, Captain Marvel before? Okay, couple theories on that. Just didn't really feel like she was necessary. That like shit wasn't this bad. Yeah, I guess. Then Samuel Jackson and Feige said, you know, maybe he did and we never saw it. But the thing that intrigues me most, and I said this about my Marvel theory before, the thing that intrigues me most and that I love most about this film is that they were able for the
Hmm.
first time to really have a movie take place in the 90s and make it work, and not for just the
Right.
schematics of this movie but for the long term, for what this might mean for the MCU. So while a lot of people hate the Fox movies, the X-Men movies, I think since Days of Future Past, um, they've been first class, and that whole James McAvoy scene, they've been getting it right. And I like it now that they went from the 60s, 70s to now they're moving to a time where they could be like pre 80s, maybe 90s. And I said this before, the best way to tie in that universe is to act like all of the shit that has been going down with mutants has been happening so secretively that no one else in the MCU knows that they exist. So now in 95, you got Fury, who has no fucking clue that they're aliens or that they are beings like her or like this. So now he's now
Right.
focused on saying to other government agencies, I know some shit is going on. I know some shit has gone on. Show me. I need to know about it. And then stumbles on these mutants who then in the 90s of the X-Men books and shows have become more visible to the public because shit spills. shit spills out and shit gets crazy. And then because of this Dark Phoenix saga, you're now able to tie in the other alien empires like the Shi'ar Empire, and these are other empires that have went to war with the Kree and the Skrulls and all of the above. Now you get to pull all these motherfuckers in and say, well, in '95 this happened. Well, Fury went and found that this happened, and now you get to tie all of them back in. And it kind of, I think a lot of the X-Men shit, if they finally ever pull it in, will exist in the '90s and not so much um in the time that we currently know, which is going to
Right.
be still interesting to see how it goes. But I'm kind of excited, and I'm hoping that that all pans out. But that's my theory.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Well, I think our excitement comes from the expectation that we're gonna start to see the X Men get incorporated, which is gonna be when that does happen. That shit's gonna break the internet and everything that's involved
Yeah.
with it.
Oh, and they, for me, they got to get the Fantastic Four right for once. Have to get the Fantastic Four right.
Yeah, Fantastic Four has been so
Yeah,
bad,
it's
man.
been, and they, they're really a big connector to the whole Marvel universe. Just with everything with space travel and just all types of shit, man. And one of the best villains, in Doctor Doom and then Galactus is with the Fantastic Four. So it's I'm hoping we can get it right. But
Yeah.
moving on, our favorite our favorite NBA star, LeBron. LeBron. LeBron.
Uh,
Yo, and you said it on the first episode. The argument's fucking done, bro. Like, LeBron fans, just admit it. Like, you talk about minute restriction, and you what, 3 games? They what, 3 games back from the eighth seed?
yeah, yeah. That I don't know if that's the Lakers quitting. I don't, or if that's LeBron quitting.
I have to say a little bit of both. I mean, we know LeBron is he's largely been the leader of all of the teams he's been involved in. He is not your regular superstar. He holds a lot of weight. His voice rings bells in any organization that he's with, and it's no different
Right.
here. You're really telling me you're shutting this man down with maybe 3 games, and I'm a fact check 3 games out of the playoffs.
Mm. I'm. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's look. I want to look
Look at the
look at that and
standings
see what
here.
those actual numbers are. I thought they were. I thought they were like 5 games out. But yeah, either way, you need to fight that to the end because um, they still got 20 games left.
Hella games. Okay, so no, well, shit. They're at 11. Um, they're they're at 11 behind the Timberwolves. Uh,
11 behind the Timberwolves.
yeah.
No. Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. In their place, right? But they're only 6 games out of eighth. They're
yeah,
maybe a little more, 7.5 games out of eighth. Um, but they still got 22 games left in the season.
yeah,
You mean to tell me that you can't, with the quote unquote king, the best player in the league, you can't close the gap on the Clippers, the Spurs, who don't have. I mean, they're running around with fucking Aldridge and DeRozan leading
mm-hmm,
them.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? The Clippers don't really have much of shit. They're a makeshift team. They don't have no true star on that team. I think the person that's doing the most for them is Lou Williams. They got Lou Williams and Gallinari doing numbers for them.
yeah. I mean, the Lakers' upcoming schedule, they got the Bulls, the Raptors, Pistons. They playing my Knicks. I mean, that's a win. they,
Should be.
they got the Bucks, Nets, Kings, Wizards is a fucking win. Kings is a win. Jazz,
I think
Hornets,
it's too late in the season for them
two.
to pack it in like that,
Yeah,
as if they're trying to make a move for picks, because shit, their record, even being in the 11th spot in Western Conference, they would be in the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference right now. So that means that you got 7 teams in the East that are worse, and 5 teams in the West that are lower, that are worse.
yeah,
So they're not even a lottery team at
yeah.
this point.
I mean, they got 16 games left. 16 games left.
16. Oh yeah, 66. I thought they were at 62.
Yeah,
So
16
yeah, they
games
got
left.
66, 16 games left. You're 7.5 games out. But you still, I mean, you have LeBron James, you have Kuzma. Like, they had young talent. Ingram before he got shut down for injury.
Yeah,
Zoe, who's now shut down. Like,
it's.
it's not like they got scrubs behind this dude. Like, this is probably a better team than he had in Cleveland.
I agree. And is this more to your point? Is this more the Lakers bowing out, or is this the team and the organization quitting on LeBron James?
Mm,
Because they did try
mm,
to ship half these dudes away for a pack of
right.
Newports. You know, well, not a pack of Newports. You wanted Anthony Davis, but you basically was willing to do whatever to get him. And now, I watched the game. They were playing somebody, and that shit was ugly, like ugly. Turnovers left and right. People like LeBron just not even seeming like he's trying. That shit is
Right.
bad. Like, if you're a Lakers fan, like it's been worse, but it's looked better than this shit.
Yep. And it also looked like LeBron was it looks like, and if you watch the recent games, he's not playing defense.
Nah.
There was the video that was all over social media where Kuzma had to push him out to play defense on a 3-point shot.
Wow. Yeah. I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that. It's tragic, man. I mean, it really begs the question, like, what was the real true motivation of you going out west? How much does he really have left, and what is the future of the Lakers, man? And this
Right.
shit is, I mean, like I said in the last podcast, this shit is bad. I mean, after these 16 games are done, if LeBron is sitting at home on the couch,
Oof.
what can you say?
Yeah, his conversation's done. There's no more. You don't even have to have that conversation about LeBron versus Jordan. Like, I think it's a far stretch. I think you still have individuals at that point that can make uh, a case for Kobe
Mm-hmm.
being above LeBron. Because as bad as teams that Kobe was on, he never had the teams truly fully quit on him.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
yeah,
When Kobe was out there, although he wanted to be off the team, he never fucking put them out there like fucking $5 hose. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just be clear, people that think it's not LeBron that made that trade. LeBron, like, there's no fucking trade that's gonna happen on any team without LeBron James knowing or approving if he's on that team.
right.
So anybody that will sit down and try to say, "Oh, well, LeBron didn't put those guys out there for AD," shut the fuck up. That he knows. You know what I mean? Magic came in, was like, "Listen, what do you think of?" And he's like, "Yeah, bring AD in. I need him."
Pull the
You know
trigger.
what I'm saying?
Pull the
He's
trigger.
been saying he needs help in every fucking team he's had.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I need more help. I need more help. I need more help. And now he's not getting any younger. So yeah, I think he put himself in a bad situation. He's got a team that's quit on him. They will try to
and
spin
he's
it to
essentially
make
quit on
it.
them as well.
Yeah, They'll try to spin it to make it look like it's Luke Walton's fault. They'll go get a new coach, and then next year try and bring in some talent and try to fucking overshadow it with maybe a deep playoff run, possibly.
Yeah, ain't shit gonna repair this other than a championship. The best thing, or at least a finals appearance. The best thing he can hope for is that KD actually does go to New York. Because as long as that motherfucker's in Golden State, it's gonna be a tough road to the finals, buddy.
Yep.
It's gonna be a tough fucking road to the finals, and I hope to God KD comes to New York and stays healthy and shit gets the Knicks in the playoffs. That's all the fuck I need at
Mhm.
this point, man. I just need to see playoff basketball in the Garden again. That's it. That's all I ask.
I think I see that happening. I like what you guys are doing over there, especially if you guys can get Zion. If you guys can get Zion, keep DeAndre, Dennis Smith Jr. still
Mm-hmm.
running the point for you
Mm-hmm.
guys, and bring in a KD, or even if they move Dennis Smith Jr. somewhere, and they can get KD and let's say Kyrie and bring in Zion, um, with DeAndre, I think the East is done. I don't think there's anybody that can compete with that.
That would be fucking lovely. The only thing that would come in between us is injury, and the fucking Garden has looked pretty
Right.
cursed right now. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, there's that, and then there's also fucking the fact that Kyrie and LeBron have started their bromance back up.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
the only thing that I mean, even if that doesn't work, where the Knicks don't get him, DSJ is young, he's good. And if Kyrie goes out west, that's one less star in the East.
Hell yeah. I'll take that shit. I'll
So
take that shit. Real quick, NFL free agency. We
moves, moves, moves,
yeah,
moves.
thankfully the last episode didn't get published. Listening to fucking
Yeah,
Senor talk about AB
yeah,
going to the Bills.
yeah. That
That was
wasn't
some
good.
bullshit.
So I think on the first episode we talked about AB, and I did a what if where I said, what if the Raiders get him and then they go out and get
He
Le'Veon?
called AB for sure.
So I think we're moving in a direction where we could potentially see that happening. Um, Le'Veon, there's lots of landing spaces for him, and with the Raiders shelling out money right now because they just signed someone else today and put 33 million in cap
Mm-hmm.
away over 3 years for a lineman.
Yeah,
Um,
let's take the
so I
Patriots
don't know if they're gonna have.
tackle, and they're saying that they're getting a little strapped for cash, and Gruden might just be moving on because it seems like Le'Veon is out here fielding a lot of offers. And it's kind of hard
Yeah,
to tell. And motherfuckers don't really like that shit. It's kind of like you gotta have an idea because you're holding up shit that we gotta do. But
right.
AB and
You're holding up
yeah,
production.
AB in Oakland though. What do you think?
Um, I like it better than the original, which could have been the Bills
Yeah.
for him.
Mm-hmm.
I like it for him. I'm thinking it's gonna be a good move too because they're gonna be heading to Vegas. So you get to open Vegas up what next year? Not this year coming, but next season
Mm-hmm.
with potentially AB second year with Derek Carr. Um, and they've got some young defensive players. They can go into the draft because they didn't give up any of their big picks. They raped Pittsburgh like no spit.
In Chicago.
Like yeah, yeah. Well, no, I think Chicago kind of. I think that was okay, but Pittsburgh they gave him a third and a fifth for this dude.
Which they got a fifth back from us when they traded us Assimile, and they gave up a
Yeah,
six, so they got right back
and they
into
got
that shit.
and they still got three picks above that they didn't have to give. I think they got two firsts and a second. Two firsts and a second. They're going into it with just signing AB and a tackle. Um, yeah, I mean, I think they're making moves. They're making big moves out there, and I think it could work out. They got some young guys on defense. Um, they need a running back. I mean, like that's there's no question about that. They need a running back. Um,
I got faith that Mayock and Gruden are gonna definitely draft a sleep. It's a lot of offensive talent in this draft this year.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can find someone in there and hope. I, I'm more of a like they got a first round from us. They got a first round from the Bears. They got 3 first round picks this year
Them motherfuckers is killing it.
and a second
Like,
round pick.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so them they should be able to stack around AB, and then you get 1 year of game speed under those kids' belts. Second year they come in and moving into Vegas, new area, new stadium. Um, yeah, I think the Raiders are trying to make moves. It's just whether or not we're gonna see Gruden has become a coach, or if it really was all Tony Dungy, which 99% of people out there think it was.
Yeah, I mean, and to his credit, to his defense, I mean, he did take a Rich Gannon Raiders to the AFC Championship and should have been the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So
Tuck rule.
he knows something. Yeah. Now, had it not been for the Tuck rule, who knows? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He's had a lot of time to sit back and scout and plan the league. I said it. I called it a long time ago that he was going to come out of the booth and coach, and people were like, "Nah, he's not going to leave that." Nah, he's got the bug, man. He's a coach. He wants to go down as one of the all time greats. Um, shit, you can say he's one of the last guys that mano y mano had Bill Belichick's number. They
Right.
got fucking bailed out of that game. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested and I'm intrigued to see how things really look when he gets things going. I want to see.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting for them. I like the move for AB. Um, he's going to a place where there's a decent quarterback. He's going to a place where he's gonna have a decent coaching staff, and he may not ruin his legacy overall by being fucking shelled and put into a shitty place. But we have seen when Ben Roethlisberger is not in the game, we've seen AB disappear. So,
that
um,
that is the big discrepancy, the big debate. Because AB's numbers are insane. Like, I didn't know his numbers were that good. I can't even lie. Like, his numbers are insane.
mhm.
And Carr has been up and down. I think Gruden again, he's going to have to show his coaching prowess and getting and ensuring that Carr is on point. But now you got AB, and let's just say they go out there and they draft a young stud wide receiver, open some things up. It's begging the question to see how AB is really going to perform in a new system and a new quarterback. Um, but if he's anything like he was, they got they they got a hell of a player for a third and a fifth round pick.
What if they go out and call the Giants and be like, "Yo, we got a first and a second for Odell,"
Shit,
and put
that's
Odell on the
nuts.
other side,
That would be nuts.
and then get a
Um,
nice get a young back somewhere.
yeah, there's been speculation that the Giants are looking at trading OBJ to the 49ers. There also been talks about the Giants trading up with us, the Jets, um, for the third pick. It's a lot of wheeling and dealing. The GMs this year are really gonna have to make their money out there. And I like that Gruden he brought in Mike Mayock, who I think Mike Mayock, why he has no experience, cool. Ozzie Newsome didn't at one point either. But he's a former player. He can see talent, and a lot of the GM moves that were gonna be made were already made. So now at this point, you're pretty much just putting him in charge of draft responsibilities. I think Mayock has a good talent for eye. I mean, a good eye for talent rather. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm interested, man. And it seems the other good thing, time is seemingly moving. We're already almost through with March.
yeah,
Combine is
yeah,
done. Draft will be here before we know it.
absolutely. So the only downside to the Raiders making these moves is they're gonna have to deal with Pat Mahomes for the next
How many years?
however long, right?
Mm,
And Denver, if they go ahead and bring in Flacco,
yeah, they did. Yep.
you know, he can still sling the ball, and they still got the Chargers to worry about. But the bigger issue is going to be they're going to have to deal with Kansas City, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid, whatever running back they decide they're going to rock with,
And they just got
uh,
Tyron Matthew.
Travis Kelsey, Tyron Matt. Like Kansas City's going to be a problem.
Yeah, the Chargers ain't gonna do shit. The Char- the Chargers are gonna be Chargers. Uh, I have no faith in that organization at all. And
Yeah,
they've had the same quarterback forever in Phil Rivers, and that matrimony will come to an end soon. Um, I really got no faith in them at all. I mean, they got a great coach, so seemingly
man. So tell me how Tyron Matthew only got 42 million, but Landon Collins got 84 million
Redskins,
from
man.
or
Redskins, man. The Redskins, and I told somebody the other day. I said they're gonna pay him because they need and they want that Sean Taylor esque person. They really got fucked out of having Sean Taylor
oh
being
yeah,
there, and if it looks right, Landon Collins can be something similar.
Terrell Suggs going to Arizona.
Yeah, 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 and that's a real shame for the Ravens, man, because this guy's been there 16 years. He's somebody that should have definitely retired a Raven. Definitely, he's literally gonna be the first of the big three defensive guys that they've had all time, or not even. Yeah, I would say big three. If you were to look at him, Ray Lewis, and Ed Reed, the only one that's no, because Ed went to the Jets and went other places, so
Yeah,
Ray was really the only one that retired there. So let me stop. But yeah, and not to mention the Orioles. Adam Jones went to Arizona too. So Baltimore fans are a little fucked up right now. I've been seeing a lot of it on my timeline, but
Mm,
you know,
I want to see, man. Foles' contract is in there. Blake Bortles is
hmm
going to get out there. Blake Bortles is probably going to end up in. I still think he's going to end up with a starting role, man.
I think so. Of course,
I think Bortles
absolutely.
ends up with a starting role, or maybe he ends up in New York with the Giants behind Eli. Um,
Yeah,
until they can find something else to make happen. Maybe he ends up in Miami, keep him in the state. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah.
these moves are interesting, and as you get into them, you start to feel the season coming. So
hmm
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this is gonna work out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, man. It hasn't been a lot going on this week, but we came to the table with something today. You know what I mean?
I feel good about it. I definitely feel good about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Zencaster,
Yeah,
making this shit easier.
it makes it a lot easier than what we were dealing with just going through Skype and some other stuff. But yeah, Zencaster is killing it. Before we go though, we definitely want to make sure that we mention where we can be listened to, and that's on the
iTunes.
iTunes podcast app as
Yeah.
well as on
Spotify.
Spotify at this point.
Yep.
So looking for
Um,
us there.
I heart they want more episodes. Um,
Okay.
and gonna have to revisit uh that app, I guess. Google Play is fucking difficult. I forgot how difficult it was to fucking get Google Play on there, and I'm gonna have to revisit that. But no one fucking uses that shit anyway. So
Yeah,
shout out to
yeah, nobody
Spotify
listen.
and iTunes.
Yeah, Spotify, iTunes doing it what they do. Um, but yeah, again, Instagram, Castworthy, Twitter, at Castworthy. I
Absolutely.
think we did good. Anything that's pressing to you right now?
Nah, man. I wish the VP of research was here to say his fucking serious ass spiel would take us out, but that guy went 0 dark 30 on us today.
Yeah, yeah. You know why he mad? He mad. He burnt all his fucking Game of Thrones knowledge on the episode that we could we couldn't post. But
Oh,
yeah, we got to get back to that. I think that's topic for our next go round is we got to get some Game of Thrones added in because
winter's
some
coming.
stuff is coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah, winter's definitely coming.
winter's definitely coming. No doubt. All right, man.
All right. Well, if nothing else, I think we cleaned up real good this evening, and we look forward to continuing this party in a few days.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.